Hey guys, Josh Culler here, the host of the Good Success Podcast. Hey, I'm just dropping in here to let you know that we are giving a free book away. Yes, a free book called Active Turnkey, The Best Way to Buy Rentals by Tom Olson himself, the president of Good Success. Yes, I did say we are giving it away for free. All you got to do is go to goodsuccess.com/ATKbook. Again, that's goodsuccess.com/ATKbook. as an active turnkey. And we're going to cover the book. So we're going to actually pay for the book and give it to you for free. We're just asking you to cover shipping costs, which is very minimal compared to the value that you're going to be getting in the book. So if you are interested in learning how to create financial freedom with real estate, go get your copy now. Again, that is goodsuccess.com/ATKbook. Thank you for listening to the Good Success Podcast, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome back to the Good Success. Did I scare you, Tom? I scared Tom. If you're listening on the podcast,
welcome back to the Good Success Podcast.
Welcome back to the Good Success Podcast. I totally just scared Tom. That was hilarious. If you're listening on the podcast, Tom just almost jumped out of his seat. That was funny. But anyway, welcome back to the Good Success Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Culler, and we got Tom Olson, president of Good Success, sitting right next to me here. And we got a great interview today. So we got Michael Jordan out of Detroit, Michigan. So this is not the Chicago Bulls Michael Jordan, but it's a better Michael Jordan, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you. You're too kind.
Awesome stuff. You. So, Mike, what is going on, man? It's been forever, but we're glad to see you again.
Oh, thank you. Glad to see you guys, too. Hopefully all is well with you guys. And congratulations to you, Josh. I know you recently got married, so it's a wonderful step in your life. So I'm so happy for you. And say congratulations to your wife.
I will. I appreciate it, wonderful. Mike. Yeah, thank you, Mike. And, all right, well. Yeah.
Josh got the better end of the deal there.
Did I? I don't know. I think I might be a little bit more stubborn than Gabby. She's your assistant, though, so I don't know. You tell me. So
I said she got the better end of the deal.
That's good.
You got the better end of the deal.
Wait, which one, though?
You got the better end of the deal.
Okay, cool. We're going to stick with that. So Mike is out of Detroit, Michigan. Mike, is it Detroit or Detroit?
A lot of people pronounce it a lot of different ways, but I say Detroit, Michigan,
Okay, cool.
Kind of like Detroit basketball,
there you go.
So
Detroit.
We got it from the, from going to the Pistons games, so I kind of adopted that name, the way they say it, Detroit basketball.
Cool. So we're going to go with Detroit then. So we're going to stick with that. That's how I say it. So,
yeah, that's fine.
So Mike is the president of Strategy Investment Group. They have a turnkey operation out there in Detroit. We're going to have Mike talk about that a little bit, but on average, they're selling about 20 homes per month, have about 700 doors under management. I'm sure these numbers change, Mike, so you can talk about that here in just a second. And it's been in business since 2014, but Mike himself started his first business as it was a painting business in 1999. Mike, I barely remember 1999. I was in first grade, but I'm sure it was a good year. But anyway, and then Mike also studied at the University of Michigan, got a business degree, so that's cool. But we're gonna come back around to Mike, have him fully introduce himself, talk a little bit more about strategy investment properties. And before we get into it, if you guys haven't already, make sure you have subscribed to the Good Success Podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, all the podcasts platforms. Just go there, search for Good Success. Make sure you subscribe there. And then if you can leave a review, make sure you do. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on these episodes. Maybe some people that you would suggest that we interview. We'd be totally open to that. And then the Good Success Mastermind. We're doing this podcast here on, I think it's Thursday, Tom, if I'm not mistaken. And the Miami event was last week, fourth quarter of November of 2018. November. Man, I can't talk. It's hot in here, man. But it was a great event. So we were excited about it. Jam-packed room. Thank you, Tom. He's fanning me. I appreciate it. That feels good. Keep doing that. So that was a fantastic event. Went very well. Had a few signups, and we're excited about it. So the next event is in February in Dallas, Texas at Quest Trust Company's office down there in Texas. And February 4 through 8, we're going a full week now, splitting the groups into two, and then having a middle day for a lot of networking going down. A lot more details to come, but if you guys are interested in it, go to goodsuccess.com/mastermind. Fill out the application there, and you can learn more about us. and we love to talk to you. Once you fill out the application, it's going to get submitted to us. You'll get on the phone with either myself or Tom, and we'll vet you because we don't let just anybody in the group. So we're excited about that. So February 4th through 8 is the first quarter of next year's mastermind. So 2019 first quarter, goodsuccess.com/masterminds, where you can learn more about that.
And then somebody is going to be walking across the stage, dancing.
Yes. I keep forgetting to talk about that.
And coconut bras. And these are going to be some big dudes. So,
yeah.
So somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, and we're all going to lose, I think.
Yeah, I think we're all going to lose at that point.
But
yeah, possibly.
We are preparing for this already. We have when you said 1999, the only thing that comes to my mind is that song, like Party Like It's 1999.
That's
but that was
song.
Way before your time, so you wouldn't even know that, Josh. Right?
It's a
Mike?
classic to me now.
That was when like we thought the whole world was going to end at the end of 1999. So we're thinking about the right music for that that one dance move that somebody's going to have to do on stage.
So, Mike, you know Mo Matthews and Jeremiah Rose, and they have a competition going on to see who can be the biggest loser, and the loser has to dance in front of everybody in a coconut bra and a grass skirt.
Oh my God,
that's a motivation.
Yes.
That's going to be great. You better videotape that.
Emily's already got the angles all down, so we're good to go. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
So that's some awesome stuff. So the mastermind, goodsuccessmastermind.com. I don't know if they're going to go there now, so but hopefully they.
I would want to go just for that.
Just for that. It's going to be good.
I'm telling you, that's going to be hilarious.
Awesome stuff. And then the Active Turnkey book, Best Way to Buy Rentals by Tom Olson himself. He wrote this, and we are giving this away for free. You can pick up your copy at atkbook.com for free. All you got to do is cover shipping costs. Tom's going to pay for the book himself. Some great content that's in here. You guys make sure you take advantage of that. I'm pretty sure he signed almost. Yeah, there you go. This is a signed copy by Tom Olson himself, president of Good Success. So I'm going to be sending this to somebody in the mail, so make sure you take advantage of that. atkbook.com is where you can pick that up, and we'll get it shipped out to you. And then the Community Go-Giver event, June 26, 27, 28. We got an awesome speaking lineup. I'm super excited to have some of our previous speakers back. Jim Ingersoll, Jeffrey Taylor. Who else was speaking there? Well, Aaron Chapman's a new one.
Oh, yeah. Aaron
Sonia Booker's a new one. Linda Liberatore is a new one.
Somebody from Quest will be there this time. Jeff Johnson's a new one.
Yep. So we got a really good lineup. I'm excited about it. So communitygogiver.com is where you can pick up your tickets. Early bird pricing is going on right now, so make sure take advantage of that. Save a couple $100. We are selling out at 80 seats. Fire Marshal says we can't take any more. So that's a great deal for you guys right now. You can get one ticket or a pair of two tickets, get a little bit of a discount. So maybe pair up with somebody. But take advantage of that, communitygogiver.com. More details about the rest of the speaking lineup and the agenda to come. So you guys make sure you be listening for that, June 26, 27, 28 of 2019. So without further ado, let's get into the podcast with the real MJ, Michael Jordan, here in Detroit, Michigan. So, Mike, do us a favor for the people that don't know who you are. Introduction of who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing that.
Well, thanks a lot for having me on here, Josh and Tom. I appreciate that. You guys are wonderful. A little introduction about myself. Our focus business is really has become more diversified, but our focus business has been being in the turnkey space. And we've diversified our company a lot, in the last, couple of years. And, we're mainly a turnkey operator. We produce approximately 20 homes a month. Some months a couple less, some months 2 or 3 more, So it's about 20 a month that our average is on our production. We manage about 800 to 900 doors now. I think we're getting close to 1,000. We pick up third-party clients outside of ourselves, so we vet them. So actually, Mark Jackson called us, so we're picking up some of his doors in Detroit. So
that's another MJ.
Yeah, that's another MJ. So so we try to provide the best service possible. We got good property management. We also have a construction division in-house, which does work not only for our property management company, our turnkey company, but also third-party investors that want to have work done. Recently we've built out a new brokerage that we're taking on typical listings when we go out there and do our off-market marketing, via mailers and calling and, all the lists that we go after and the vacants. We've been getting a lot of owners that don't want to sell their properties to us at the price we want. So we started a brokerage, Your Path Realty, and we've been doing that. So that's going real good. And we're helping out the community by doing courses on how to get their credit up and, how to become a homeowner, working with banks like Huntington and Chemical to get people ready to become a homeowner. So that's great. This all started, I would say, we've been in 1999, we started as a painting company, and it was the cheapest way for me to get involved in business. It was the lowest barrier of entry. Got a couple people that referred us to other people and got some painting jobs and knew some painters and got going, but got that business going and sold it. And around 2011 is when Strategy Properties started. So that's when it was first formulated into a turnkey company. I owned rentals before then. I was an accidental landlord when the market turned. And I started saying, being an accidental landlord isn't that bad. It's pretty great. You got income coming in every month. If you got the right paperwork, you know how to do the screening on the tenants properly. You know how to set the standards right. Being a landlord is actually great. So when the market turned, I started buying mortgage notes, which a lot of them were vacant. So I got the properties back and either kept them or sold them. And I started building up my rental portfolio. While doing that, we had people coming in from out of town, a lot of overseas investors from London and, from around the globe and, from around the country, saying, hey, do you got some properties for us? And we'd have these rentals that are performing with leases in place, good tenants in place. And we started selling turnkey properties. And that was the stem or the foundation of what we do, because that allowed us to create all these ancillary businesses, which are the property management company. We already had the construction company in place. And then, people that are selling us properties, wholesalers would also come to us and say, hey, we want to borrow money. You want to do this deal? And sometimes I'd say, you know what? I'll borrow on this deal. It's a safe deal and, quick returns and, and we don't have to, put that much effort out. We could use our resources of our crews and our people into what we're doing. And that's how we got diversified. And that's where we've gotten today. And we've tightened up our systems, our processes, our procedures. And I think that, a lot of members, Tom and a lot of members in your group have been so great. And, there's a lot of knowledge there that someone could help themselves by expanding their horizons and their systems, their procedures, their processes. And, I think that's a huge part of business, is hitting the ceiling and then creating a new ceiling for yourself. And you keep moving that up.
So I got a question for you, Mike. So if you're a person right now and you're looking at real estate, and let's just say I've got $100,000. Okay. So I have $100,000 and I'm looking at real estate as a possible way to invest. Far too often, we see these people just go and spend all that money on a course, or they go spend all this money on education, which I'm not against education. Trust me, I think it's very, very important. But many times it would be so much better for them to just go buy a house and be completely passive in the deal, or loan the money to somebody and be completely passive in the deal. What are your thoughts on that?
I have to agree with you in the sense of, I think that while you're, the best way to learn is by people that have already been down that path before, and it's through experience. You could take a class all you want, but if I go buy a property from you, let's just say you're going to do an active turnkey property for me. There's nothing wrong with me asking a lot of questions along the way and me doing a deal with you, and then understanding how to do it myself. So I think that's also a really good way of learning. there's a lot of people that I hear that go spend a lot of money in education, and I know a lot of people that have, and I would say it's 50-50. There's guys that are still in the same position that they were before they went and got education. Then there's some of them, maybe it's not 50%, maybe it's less, that
I was going to go there. I'm like, I think it's more like 3% or something in the industry and average.
These are rough numbers. I'm real vague here. It could be 10%. It could be honestly, it depends who you go to, right? It really depends who you go to. If someone truly the educator truly cares about educating people and getting them, to their peak, there's a huge advantage there. But I do also believe in going out and doing it yourself, and also buying from someone or buying from someone or doing it yourself and falling a little bit. And like I think you mentioned it all the time, fall forward and learn from your mistakes and keep going. But in my business today, I constantly find holes. So one of my jobs is, as a visionary for my company, is to find holes in my company and say, how do I plug those holes? And sometimes it's hard to find, ways to plug those holes, because you have to be, in a group, that can advise you and help you. And I think that is priceless when you have that. But the one-time seminars where people go and they're promised to make, $50 million in a year, I don't think it's ever happened. But
I guess I'm just thinking that for a lot of people, real estate, I think, should be a passive thing. It doesn't have to be an active thing. And that's what companies like you provide. Like a company like your, turnkey property management or turnkey properties provide a way for somebody to just be passive with that money. And if you think about it, they never lose the money. So if you go out and spend the money on education, it's gone forever. But if you go and put $100,000 into a house in Detroit, then you didn't lose the money. You have the asset now, and now the asset is producing income. If you want to go sell that asset, you can get that money back at some point, or you can refinance. Or if you're just going to, like the typical property for you, your typical buyer probably puts 20% down.
Yep.
So with that $100,000, they could possibly buy 5 properties if they actually leveraged that $100,000. So to me, I just sometimes I question somebody that is not they're not looking at this as a career. They're looking at this to maybe start investing. I think it's so much better just to be passive with it and just to stay passive with it than to try to learn a whole new business, because that's what me and you do. Everybody can't do what me and you do, and most people don't want to do what me and you do. So, and I don't blame them sometimes, but at the same time, like I just think that a lot of people miss the boat when they get into real estate, and they don't think about what else they could do with it. So I'd say for most people out there, now this isn't for everybody, but for most people out there, I would say buy the houses, just buy the assets. Stay in the blue collar, stay in the Midwest, Southeast, where the prices don't go up and down crazy, and just take your returns as they come.
Tom, to capitalize on what you're saying there, which I agree with 100%, is that back in 2000, I think it was 2003, I was building some homes. While I had a painting company, I started my construction company and was building some homes. I was trying to, whatever money I made, I was trying to either buy a lot and build on it, or I was also building homes for people. And one time there was a dentist, and he wanted to build a home. And he said, Mike, he said, what do you think? He said, I'm building this home. It's going to be about $500,000. And I know you're going to make around 15% on it. So you're going to make $75,000 on it. Do you think I should just do it myself? And I told him, I said, you know what? Let me ask you something, doctor. I said, are you going to make more money working on someone's teeth or spending time saving that $75,000? He said, you're right. He said, I'm going to have you build a home. So that just goes to your example that spend your time where your specialty is. Don't try to go out there and be an investor, because a lot of times I have or be a buyer and a renovator and a tenant placement person, because I have a lot of times people come to us and they have a problem because they tried to do it on their own. Where if they would have bought it already completed, and if they think they were going to save $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000, they lost that money in the overage and construction costs, in the extra time that it took to renovate, in the mistakes they made. So I completely agree with you on the fact that stay in your lane, perfect your lane, and you'll do just fine. And I'll tell you, rental homes, people sometimes they say, well, what if the market drops? I say, that doesn't matter. If the market drops, rental prices sometimes go up. As long as you keep on, you hold on to your investment, you maximize the performance every single month. If the market drops, we'll just try to buy you homes at a cheaper price. You didn't hurt yourself. You're going to be always in a good position.
So let's stay along the same lines here then. So we're on the investor side, not the turnkey provider side. What are some things so somebody that says, yeah, I don't want to be the one that flips a home and places the tenant, manages it and all that. Somebody that wants to passively invest in a turnkey, what are some things that they need to consider when it comes to, I guess, the investment side of it?
First thing is location. I mean, I think Tom was out in Detroit around 6 months ago. And just like any other city around the country, you have your good areas and you have your bad areas. And he knows, driving around the cities, there's probably areas where he would say, or I would tell you that whole area is going to be one day a new development. Someone's going to come tear down the homes and rebuild it. And then there's areas that are strong and stable where people want to live. Tenants want to live there, or owners want to live there. It's in close proximity to jobs and industry and whatnot. So I always say location is the first factor to take a look at before numbers, because the numbers might look great, but then I call those paper returns, because you're really never going to get them. They look great, but no one's ever going to rent the home for that price. No one's, it's not going to be occupied always. The maintenance is going to be high. So be concerned about the location. That's the number one factor that I would look at. That's the first one, but there's many of them.
Give me one more.
Okay, I'll give you another one. I would say quality of renovation, because after the location, the quality of renovation is very important, because if you don't have a quality renovation, you're going to have tenants that are unhappy. You're going to have an unhappy city that doesn't give you a certificate of occupancy. You're not going to pass your lead inspection. You're going to have, like I mentioned, tenants that aren't going to pay. And then you're going to have an owner that you're managing for that isn't going to be happy. So it is very important, because I see a lot of this out there, and I know you guys do too. Homes that look great, they're marketed, they're a wonderful home, and they're only $69,000 and $1,000 rent per month, but it's got $25,000 deferred maintenance, $20,000 deferred maintenance. Well, that's not a good deal. Now, I'm not saying not to buy a home with deferred maintenance, because I buy homes with deferred maintenance, but I calculate for that deferred maintenance. I say, okay, this home is worth $80,000. I'm just going to use that as an example. This home needs $20,000 in renovation. Okay, if the tenant moved out, well, I want to buy it for X, and I want to have the tenant staying there for as long as possible. And when the tenant moves out, I'm going to put that renovation into it. That's a good play, but not to sell it for retail value with deferred maintenance. That's not doing anyone right. No one's going to be happy in that deal.
Interesting.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is I think the most important piece is property management. I will tell you, it doesn't matter if you have the right location and if you have the right renovation and you have everything else going for it. If you have bad property management, I mean, we get calls from investors at least several times a week that they're now starting to bring their properties over to us and ask us questions. Sure. And it's just, it's insane. If you don't have good property management, then you will never even come close to hitting your numbers. But I think if you have good property management, there's a possibility you actually can exceed those numbers because they're going to continue to raise their rents. They're going to continue to make sure that the tenants are happy. They're going to continue to make sure that things are going. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to have maintenance. Like, you always have to be thinking 5 to 10% of rent is what you're going to end up paying for maintenance. Like, you just have to, like, you know, write it down and just make sure that that's. And if it doesn't happen in the year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, eventually it's going to catch up and you're going to have some kind of deferred maintenance.
I 100% agree with that, Tom.
But you've got to have property management. And the property management, you can't just have property management. It has to be good property management, people you can trust to be a good steward of your property.
Absolutely. So to capitalize on that too, Josh, if you would have told me the top 3, I would have said those 3. And, you know, I always think location is huge, but you could arguably say property management's number 1, because if you have a property manager that has systems, policies, procedures, and ethics in place, that's huge. That alone is huge. And then communication. I mean, a lot of calls that we get from people to manage our properties for them is because they have lack of communication. Mm-hmm. So what we've done is every property manager actually has an assistant that gets CC'd on all messages, emails that come in and out. So we know that someone's going to get a response within that business day.
That's interesting. That's a good tip for you property managers right there. So we're going to talk about property management here in just a second. Again, we're going to revisit that, but I want to talk about location. So you're in the Detroit market. There's other turnkey markets in the Midwest. I mean, our market's a turnkey market. Memphis is a hotbed. So for Detroit specifically, I was skimming your website and you guys have a whole section of why Detroit. So for you, why is Detroit such a good market for turnkeys? Like, why should somebody invest in that market?
You know, I think that home prices have gone up a lot, but I think that there's a lot of bang for your buck here. You know, I think that, you know, you look at the returns around the country. We have, you know, one of the better returns in the country, probably, you know, for sure in the top 3 to 5, if not, top 3. We have homes that are, you look at them, if you move them to another place, it might be worth, 4 or 5 times the value. You can get homes for $65,000, $70,000 that, produce a $900 income, up to $1,000 income. I look at it like there's a lot of industry, new construction going on with commercial buildings, job growth, a lot of big projects that the private sector and the government is working on, and the unemployment rate. So there's jobs. So I look at it like, it's solved from all fronts, from not only the infrastructure of the homes and the availability of the homes that we have to really dig to find, but we do. But also the market is a stable and strong market. It's there's 10 million people in Michigan in Michigan. There's millions of people in Southeast Michigan. The rental market, we put a home on the market. We got multiple applications, within days that we choose from, and we have a certain criteria that we look at. So I look at those factors right there alone. It makes it a strong market. I mean, you're going to cover your debt service ratio if you get a loan on it. Well cover that. And it's a positive cash flowing asset after a loan, or if you do it in cash, it's even higher. I mean, depends on what's their desires. But that's why I love Detroit, and I just it's not just because I'm from here, but I know that I know the market, and I know if you know how to locate the right locations, renovate it, and properly manage the homes properly, you're going to have cash flow, and you're going to do really well over a course of time. And it's when I say a course of time, that no one could expect to buy a rental in 1 year and flip it. You got to be looking at long-term 5-10 year projections.
Gotcha. So then let's focus on the business now. So turnkeys, you guys are acquiring the properties, and the construction, the renovation team is fixing it up, and then you're going to place the tenant, property manage it. So how does a company that has those 3 divisions, and you might have others as well that complement that, but how do you find, I mean, you guys almost have 1,000 doors in property management right now. How do you guys find the synergy? What are the biggest keys to finding the synergy to keep those companies all in line, all in check with each other, making sure you're all on the same page and communication's all there? So what are the biggest keys to making that happen?
Oh gosh, I would say regularly scheduled meetings with departments, having goals that we weekly reporting that we do to measure where we're at every single week, having quarterly goals, having a company wide meeting once a week so departments could interact with each other. Having a open layout in our office helps a lot too. I mean, people could talk with each other right then and there. Having a system that is used by everyone. We use Podio, and helps everyone to see visibility on what's going on and the status of homes, where they're at with construction, pictures, leases. Who's the project manager on the job if they need to talk to them about something. So I would say it's systems, processes, procedure, and communication, and a structure to the overall company.
Interesting. So then growth for your company, obviously you guys are growing. How are you guys, what has been the biggest thing that you have implemented in the business? Now, you talked about processes and procedures a lot and even mentioned that here in the previous question, but what's one of the biggest things that you have done for the business that's helped keep that growth in check and not get out of control and you guys are spilling over and that kind of thing? So what's one of the biggest things that's contributed to keeping and maintaining that growth?
I would say realistic goals, not, to have huge, big, outrageous ambitions is wonderful. I'll tell anyone that's great, but take it in strides. The way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So I look at it like having realistic goals that you're meeting on a regular basis, and it's like climbing the ladder up. So I'm not going to get up to the 50th story, with one step. It's going to be a step at a time. So I think that, that's one of the things that I've implemented for myself, is been able to more focus myself on pertinent things that I can help with the business rather than be scattered. Also delegating duties to people who are responsible, respectable, capable, producers to handle those certain tasks of certain departments. That frees up my time to concentrate on things that I see that are imperative for us to keep growing. To also look down the line, in the future. So
interesting. So then let's go to the acquisition side of the business. Now, obviously, you even mentioned that sometimes you'll acquire homes from investors that have their properties and they're not happy with their current property management company. So that's one method. But outside of that, what's like a very effective method that you guys have for acquiring properties to, I guess, put the property through the turnkey process and then essentially property manage it?
Yeah, so I've talked to Tom's helped out a lot with that. We've talked to him about things in the past, which are sometimes such small things that help out so much. I don't know if you recall, Tom. We talked about one time, even the MLS. Like someone might say, "Oh, the MLS is dry." That's like saying I don't know, the glass is half empty. There's always opportunities, and it's the way you handle it.
Yeah, when I went to Detroit, I was like, "Oh, look, there's properties right here on the MLS that look like good deals in good areas."
Absolutely. So, Tom once mentioned, him and I had a conversation, and we were saying, "Hey, I said, Tom, what are your suggestions? Should we start mailing? Should we start doing this? Should we start doing that?" And he's like, "Well, hold on, let's slow down for a second. And let's talk about some things." And I respected the way he handled it, because he was like, "What are you doing now?" He's like, "Okay, you're writing offers. Are you following up with them? Do you see if they go back on the market? Do you build a relationship with that agent? Do you know everyone that in your area that is a mover and shaker as far as a realtor, a wholesaler, a bird dog, whatever you want to call them? Do you have relationships with them? What's your pipeline like? What is your follow-up methods? That alone right there can increase your income in properties probably by 25% just by doing things like that. But we use the MLS, of course. We always will. I mean, anyone that says they don't use the MLS, I know some people in some markets are like, we just don't use the MLS. I got it. I understand. Maybe some people in Dallas, Texas, they say it's not there. I haven't seen it. I don't know. But, in Michigan, you can still use the MLS. We work with a lot of off-market wholesalers, bird dogs, realtors that sometimes will know someone that wants to sell, doesn't even go on MLS. They call us. We look at it. 24 hours later, we got a signed PA. We do mailings. I actually, right now, I'm questioning if I want to really spend a lot of time on that, because if we're getting enough inventory, why spend money in that area when you don't need to, where you could have others go out there, let them make their money as a wholesaler, and they're indirectly working for you. And if they know you produce and you buy, they're going to bring you the deals. We also have a We Buy Homes webpage. It's called sellushomes.com. We go to auctions. So we do a lot of pre and post foreclosure deals where someone's in foreclosure. We'll try to help them out. And we truly do go in with the first objective of helping them out, because the auction in Michigan is really, to me, people are scared. Okay. Their home is getting foreclosed on. They psychologically have probably been through a lot in the sense of they have a lot of debt collectors calling them. They probably stopped paying their credit cards. They probably got car notes due. So if I call them, if I stop by, knock on their door, if I put a notice on their door, I'm just one of the other guys who, in their mind, is someone who wants money from them. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we try to get through to them and say, hey, we can help you out. We actually have some options for you. Now, before doing that, we want to know if we want the home. We want to see, is the home in the right area? Does the home have equity? Do we want to own this home? Do we want to buy and do a lease option back to the homeowner? So we do auctions. We do pre and post foreclosure auctions. We do tax auctions also. And I would say that's the basis of really how we get a lot of our deals. We do have attorneys that call. Sometimes they have deals. We got guys that are out there that will come across some packages that a city is selling, or we'll deal sometimes with the city treasurer who's selling some homes that we work out a deal with. So that's pretty much the majority of ways that we get our deals.
Interesting.
Get all the free deals first before you start paying for leads.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Why not? That's the right way to do it as an investor.
Well, and not only that, for me, I guess I always look at it as it lets me invest in people, and I would much rather invest in people than invest in just advertising.
Right. Well, and that's why what we do is we try to do a lunch every 2 months, bring in guys that we do work with and say, hey, we appreciate you. Thank you for bringing in, these deals. Is there anything that we could improve on? They'll say, closing process or this or that, or your title company. And we'll write it down and we'll talk to them and they'll feel relevant, and they are relevant. But, we will tell them, they also know that what the most important thing, we could ask them how they feel and all that good stuff. But the most important thing is that we close and we do what we say we're going to do. And that's how we build relationships.
Awesome stuff.
So you do a wholesaler's luncheon every 2 months? That's a good idea.
That's a really good idea.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Jim Ingersoll likes to say breaking bread with them, but he does it with his contractors. You do it with your wholesalers too. So Good tip.
Yeah. Well, we also, I would say every about 2 to 3 weeks, we have like today they had a company lunch. I couldn't join. I was in my office in a meeting for a long time, but we try to do a company-wide office lunch every 2 to 3 weeks. And sometimes what we do is we bring our maintenance guys in here, or I'll tell the guys, hey, whoever you're closest with, just call them. Our contractors, our realtors, wholesalers, and it'll kind of be like how do I put it? Like an informal, quick, come in here, guys, let's talk, break some bread. You got to eat lunch anyways. Come on and stop by. So we do that a lot, and I feel that really helps. And we like to. I feel it brings good synergy in the office. People love it. They're sitting around laughing, enjoying themselves for a couple hours, getting to know each other, and it just strengthens relationships. And that's one of the key, a key factor in our business is relationships.
Yeah.
So can I go back here? So you said you have over 900 properties that you manage?
Yeah, right around there. We actually have an apartment complex that I don't think I'm figuring in there that has 90 doors. But that's not for a third party. That's, we have some of our own properties that we have in house. So, if I would have to ask, but yeah, it's right around 900.
I guess what I'm looking for is what's the structure then? So like, if you have 900 doors, like how many people does it take to manage that? Just the property management piece. Sure.
Well, I would say it takes about 5 maintenance guys full time that are doing work for us.
So one maintenance guy for every 150 doors?
Yeah, I would say that's right. And if they're not that busy doing maintenance, they're painting a house that's getting ready for a tenant turnover or something. So they're always busy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I get
There's
it.
no such thing as, hey, we got the day off today. There's always something to do. So we have 5 maintenance guys that are full time. We got guys that we can call on the side that do maintenance. If we're ever in a bind, we got our maintenance crew. We got crews that we can call. We got specialty trades that are needed sometimes.
But those are all subcontractors. I'm talking about in-house. So
in-house. Okay.
Just your in-house team. Yeah.
If we just stick to in-house, I would say you need 6 property managers for us. So about 150 properties a person, plus an assistant. And that's how I've been doing it. So my assistant has been a virtual assistant for each person.
So each property manager, so you have one property manager for 150 properties, and they get basically almost their own maintenance person and their own assistant, and the assistants are VAs.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we also, on top of that, we have 2 field. We have 2 field. We call them runners, picture takers, rekey guys that are also on that team. And we also have an estimator that runs the tenant turn projects. So he goes out there, writes up the estimate, gives it to the property manager. Property manager sends it to the owner. Owner approves it. We get started on it.
Okay. Very cool. Okay. And then staying along the same lines, I got one more question here, and then we're going to wrap this up because this has been a very good podcast. Got a lot of nuggets out of here, but we're running out of time. Man, I wish we had so much more time. Staying along the lines of property management, what are some things you've mentioned it 1 or 2 times? Maximizing cash flow for the property. What are some things maybe the property management company can do to maximize the cash flow for a property? Because that's the sweet spot right there, is the cash flow that you're getting in monthly from the property. So what are maybe a couple of key things, some nuggets there that you can maximize getting that cash flow out?
Number 1, being prepared and understanding, if a tenant is going to move out when the lease expires, and shrinking that window between tenants so the cash flow is not interrupted that much. I would say that's the first thing. And I would say number 2 is communicating with the investor on what really needs to be done to that home in order for it to be not a Band-Aid fix, to be something that's a long-term fix, and for it to pay off in the long term. I'll use an example. So you might have a home that has carpet in the bedroom. Maybe a guy brings over a property to us that we're not managing. The whole house has, vinyl plank flooring or hardwood flooring. Okay. And they got carpet in the bedroom, in one bedroom. It's us as the professionals to guide them and tell them, hey, take up that carpet, refinish that floor. It's going to last longer. You're not going to have to change that carpet every time a tenant moves out. So those 2 key factors to me is Number one, reducing being prepared when tenants move out to put another tenant in the home. Number two, advising your clients on the best practices to have their home as maintenance friendly as possible for them for the long term.
Interesting. So have you guys done anything with ancillary sales? So like, putting a TV in the house and having the tenant rent that and that kind of thing. So can you kind of expound on that a little bit?
Yeah. So we what we do is we have in Michigan, we don't provide washers, dryers, fridge, and stove. So we often advise clients that, and our property managers do this anyway. So we say, hey, if you want to wash a dryer, fridge, and stove, we can charge you $75 more a month. And, if we're buying it for $700 or $800, they're recouping their capital pretty quick. That tenant's going to be, happy that they have everything in the house that they need in the house. And they're most likely going to be there for a long time. You could also ask that tenant to sign a 2 or 3 year lease instead of, a 13-month lease, which is our lowest amount of months that we offer a lease on. We also have offered couches in the past for someone, let's say couches and, a love seat, which is $400 or $500 for someone that's been in the property for 2 years or 3 years. And they might have been a great tenant and they're like, we're not sure, we might want to move out, we're looking at other homes. So if they're on that fence, to me, that's when you go in there and you say, hey, listen, you've been a great, tenant of ours. And, we could offer you either, they already have a fridge and stove in there. If you don't have a washer and dryer, we could offer you a washer and dryer, or we could offer you, a sofa and a love seat, or, a TV. I mean, they most likely have a sofa and a love seat. We could offer you another TV, but we'll offer them something to try to keep them in the home. And to me, that's our duty as a property manager, to try to maximize our clients' money. So those are little things that we do, and little nuggets that, as a property manager, I think are really smart, and it pays off for the client, big time over time.
Yeah, we've done two things that I think are huge for us. And the first one is offering a lower security deposit, which sounds like, why are you doing that? But our typical rents in our area are $1,200 to $1,300. So if somebody wants to rent one of our properties, they got to come up with $2,500 plus move, and pretty much every time. So we'll offer them $600, but now they're going to pay $50 more a month in rent. Well, guess what? At the end of the day, that owner makes a whole lot more money, and that money now belongs to the owner. It doesn't belong to the tenant, because the security deposit belongs to the tenant. So after 1 year, you've already recouped all the money that you didn't get for the security deposit. And by the way, it belongs to the owner. We've also put granite countertops in most of our rentals. And I'll tell you, for us, like, we get at least $50 to $75 more for rent. And that's like a $600 to $800 extra versus Formica in ours. So to me, it's like,
you're recouping
80% return on your money. It's not even worth thinking about.
Tom, we do the same thing, granite countertop in all our homes.
Mm-hmm.
And we're paying, we got a very good granite supplier who gives us a great price. We're not paying that much more, right, and you will get $50 more a month. But I was going to mention,
and they rent quicker.
But I was going to mention on your first point, when you're done, I was going to say, Tom, I can't do that. I have to take the security deposit, 1.5 months security deposit. But I love the way that you do it. That's actually a smart way to do it. Hey, if you want to come with less money to the table, maybe we won't do a month and a half security deposit. Maybe we'll do 1 month security deposit, and we'll have you pay $50 more a month in rent.
Right.
And people would do that.
Absolutely. So, and at the end of the day, the investor makes more money that way, because it's their money. It's not the tenant's money. And then the third thing that we've done, and no other property manager in this area that I know even does this, and that's, we accept pets. So every single time somebody comes in with a pet, they pay a $250 non-refundable pet deposit. So it's a non-refundable, and then they pay another $50 a month for the pet fee. So it's to me, those are very significant little tweaks that anybody can implement very quickly in their rental portfolio. And I think everybody should be considering it, but I'm glad that nobody else in this area does, because we're the only people that do these three things.
Sure.
Yeah. No, those are great. We do the pets also, and I like the tip that you mentioned on the security deposit. Very smart. Puts more money in people's pocket now, and they can pay it over time.
Boom. There you go. And it gives an opportunity for a tenant to be able to get in there without.
Right. So now they only have to
doing
come
all
up
that.
with $1,800 to get into property instead of $2,500. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome stuff.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're going to have to wind this down. It's been a great interview, Mike. We appreciate you jumping on. But we
Appreciate you guys having me.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
Mike.
We got 2 more questions for you that we ask everybody that we interview. So excited to hear what this is all about. So, Mike, you've known us for a couple of years now. I'm
Right.
not sure how you met Tom, but I met you first when you came and visited us back in June of last year. And so you know us very well. You kind of know our mission. So when you hear the term good success, so just the good success, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? What do you think about when you hear the term good success?
Having success the proper way. That's what I would say.
Awesome. Very good.
Awesome.
That's what we established.
Perfect.
Awesome. And then one more thing
is
here.
getting out.
It's getting to, it's sticking
Yes.
like glue.
Perfect.
So one last thing here, you got to leave the audience with one thing. So whether that's a piece of advice, a quote, a book that you like, something you've done in your business, no matter what it is, one thing you got to leave the audience with, what would that be?
I would say always strive for your goals and everything you want in life. Be realistic with what you want to achieve and surround yourself with the right people, and be honest with yourself before you're honest with anyone, because you can't be honest with other people if you're not honest with yourself. So be honest with yourself on where you want to go, what you want to achieve, what you want to leave behind in this world. And if you really do that and you strive towards it every day and you think about it every day and you work towards it every day, you will get there.
Awesome. I love that. Be honest with yourself, and then you can be honest with other people. Great stuff. Well, Mike, we appreciate you being on. We look forward to having you back.
Yes.
Don't let it be this long that Tom and I have
Absolutely
seen you.
not. Absolutely not.
You know,
You guys are great. Love you guys, and hopefully we'll be talking to you guys soon.
Awesome.
Absolutely. So that is going to do it for today's episode. Actually, Mike, before we let you go, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, maybe a website, email address, whatever it is, what's the best way? I know you. I've known you for a while. You're a very, very much a people person. So I don't know if you should give out your personal cell number. If you want to, it's okay.
No, hey,
but
anyone that could call me, I love talking. I mean, so anytime anyone wants to talk to me, please get a hold of me. But our website, strategyproperties.com. My personal email address is mike@strategyig. So that's Mike at STRATEGYIG as an investment group.com. And my cell phone number is 734-216-3854. 734-216-3854. So, I welcome any questions, any calls. You guys are wonderful. You guys are out there to help people. I'm out there to help people. I always hear Tom, talk about, be a conduit, not a bucket. And, I think that's very important. You build relationships that way. You help people that way. Sometimes, I think about it myself. There's advice I need, and sometimes in a certain segment, and you need to talk to someone. So I also want to be that person that if someone needs something, I can honestly give them what I know.
I love that. That's awesome. We definitely appreciate you doing that. If you guys are listening, Mike is one of the most down-to-earth people that you're ever going to meet or talk to. So we definitely appreciate you doing that, Mike.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys. I really appreciate your time. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. That's coming up.
Yes, sir.
Christmas is coming up soon. So Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying that already, but, I am. It's exciting.
It's come by too quick. But that's going to do it for today's episode. We appreciate you guys jumping on. We're going to have Mike back soon at some point. I was telling Tom, I can't believe this is the first time that we've had Mike on the podcast. So we'll have him back pretty soon.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you guys how some of the things that Tom just suggested worked out, and I'm sure they're going to be great.
Awesome.
Awesome stuff. We'll report back. Very cool.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's going to do it. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you have subscribed to the Good Success Podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all the podcast platforms. Just go there, search Good Success. You will find us there. And then leave us a review if you're able to. The Good Success Mastermind, the next event is February 4 through 8 in Dallas, Texas at Quest Trust Company's office down there. So if you guys want to learn more about it, go to goodsuccess.com/mastermind. You guys can check us out there. Fill out the application, and then you'll jump on a phone with either myself or Tom, and we'll go from there. And then the Active Turnkey book, the best way to buy rentals. You can pick up your free copy at atkbook.com. Tom's paying for the book. All you guys got to do is cover shipping and handling costs, and we'll get that sent out to you. And this one's signed. So Tom actually signed this one, so you guys can get your signed copy. Take advantage of that. One more time, that's atkbook.com is where you can pick that up. And then the Community Go Giver event, early bird pricing is going on right now. CommunityGoGiver.com is where you can pick up your tickets. The next event is June 26, 27, 28. We'll have further details coming out pretty soon once we get all the agendas and everything completely nailed down. But Tom even mentioned some of the speakers that we have lined up for this next event. It's going to be a great one. So save a couple $100 early bird pricing, CommunityGoGiver.com. That's going to do it for today's episode. We appreciate you jumping on. Remember to be a conduit and not a bucket.
Work to have to give.
We'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for listening to this Good Success Podcast episode. Make sure to subscribe to us. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Anchor, or Spotify, any one of those platforms, however you like to listen to your podcast. Make sure you subscribe. And just a quick reminder to go pick up your free copy of the Active Turnkey book. It's absolutely free. Just cover the shipping costs and we'll pay for the book. Just head over to goodsuccess.com/ATKbook. Again, that's goodsuccess.com/ATKbook. And you can pick up the book there. So make sure you go do that. Thank you for listening. And remember to be a conduit, not a bucket.